All I need you to do is take the Low T quiz on their website. It's a simple 10-question quiz full of yes or no answers. It takes 2 minutes to do, so it's not a long quiz. Then you need to schedule a consult with Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, where they will draw your blood and have the results within 30 minutes. They have 5 locations in Colorado to serve you as well, so there are no excuses. I don't want to hear, hey, it's too far or I don't know where to go. You could go to Fort Collins, North Denver, Central Denver, Castle Rock, and Colorado Springs. So give them a call today at 720-440-7900 or visit RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. That's RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
This is Dr. Joel Cherdak with Denver Regenerative Medicine. If you've struggled with weight loss, it's time for something real. We use GLP-1 medications from licensed U.S. pharmacies at full strength, never from unknown or online sources. Your program is overseen by a real doctor with in-clinic care and telemedicine options. Best of all, we're offering a free consultation so you can get started risk-free. Experience real weight loss results for under $300 a month. Visit DenverRegen.com to book your free consult. That's DenverRegen.com.
The cost of everything is still out of control, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created a smart equity loan, a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a HELOC, which can have varied interest rates, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. That means one predictable monthly payment, giving you peace of mind. This loan allows you to leverage the equity in your home to pay off high interest debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your existing low mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started with no upfront or hidden fees. Call American Financing today and start saving now at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
You could save thousands of dollars on the products your business uses the most with the Home Depot's new Pro Extra Preferred Pricing. Registering is free and easy. Just have your tax ID or business or contractor's license ready. But don't wait. The current preferred pricing benefit will end on November 15th. Visit your local Pro Desk to register now and unlock the deepest savings on the products you choose.
Brenda Stokely from my friends at Roller Auction, leader in Colorado auctions for over 40 years. They conduct over 150 auctions every year, selling tens of thousands of items at the price you set. Auctions are held regularly for Colorado government agencies, and they always have big-ticket items at great prices. That's why I love Roller Auction. And almost all bidding is conducted online in real time, and it's open to the public. Anyone can participate. Check back regularly. New auctions are added weekly. Be the first to know about new auctions available for bidding when you sign up for email notifications. Go to rollerauction.com/thefan.
Denver, are you ready to ascend? Bring me the horizon. USA Ascension Program Part 1.
Every sky will build, my friend.
Taking over Ball Arena this Monday with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now through Ticketmaster. Produced by Live Nation. Bring Me the Horizon. New album, Post-Human, Next Gen. Out now.
Mike Evans here for Copperhead Plumbing. Your home doesn't have to flood before you know there's a problem. With the Mow and Flow Smart Water Shutoff System, you can monitor your home's water usage in real time right from your phone. You'll get notified the moment a leak starts. Trust Copperhead Plumbing for professional installation. Ask about installing a Mow and Flow system today.
Copperhead Plumbing, built to last. Call us once, you'll forget the past.
Copperhead Plumbing. They plumb different. They plumb custom.
Time's running out, Colorado. Castle Rock Chevy GMC has supercharged savings on your favorite EVs. With the clock's ticking, September 30th is your last chance to claim the $7,500 federal EV tax credit. They've got a massive lineup of electric powerhouses, GMC Hummer EVs, Sierra Truck EVs, and Chevy's Equinox, Blazer, and Silverado EVs, all ready to roll off the lot. Whether you're chasing adventure or cutting your carbon footprint, Castle Rock Chevy GMC has your perfect EV match. But hurry, when the tax credit ends, so do the deals. Visit Castle Rock Chevy GMC today. Castle Rock Chevrolet GMC, where Colorado drives Chevy and GMC, and where Chevy drives America.
Back to school today, college before you know it. College Invest 529 savings accounts make saving easy and qualify for a Colorado tax deduction. Open yours before another year passes. collegeinvest.org.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver.
You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Rolling on into the weekend. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez, Bud Light Football Friday edition of Denver Sports Tonight. Glad you are along for the ride. We're here for an hour until 7. We'll talk some Broncos, probably squeeze in a little college football as well. Dante, I missed you on Monday. I trust you had a good week.
I did. Great week.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
sorry for not being here for you
Well,
on Monday.
I mean, I took it personally. I did. I took it personally.
Well, you should have. It was.
It was like, I got to get away from that.
Yeah, I needed exactly.
Need a little break from the Rice man. So where were you?
I was out golfing. Our own
Nice.
Dan Jacobs, weekend host here. I'm sure everyone's familiar. Invited me to participate in a charity golf tournament that he does every year. So
Very cool.
I was out there with him. It was a beautiful day out on the course.
Very nice. It's always a beautiful day on the course.
That's a good point.
Some days are a little more beautiful than others, but yeah, this week was great to be golfing.
Yeah, a little overcast, but it's particularly nice whenever you're golfing on a Monday through Friday, skipping work to go.
Right. I should say, let me amend, because I do remember the week. Even though by Friday it gets a little foggy, it did rain for, a day and a half or so?
It did. So that started Monday night, though,
Yes.
into Tuesday. So we missed all the rain.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Softened up the greens after that for all the golfers. How would you describe your affinity for golf and your golf ability?
My golf ability is I'm going to impress you with a handful of shots, like, oh my gosh, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hit a couple shots where like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing when he's out there.
I have plenty of those.
So I shot pretty well actually on Monday, though, which made me
Okay.
feel good. I was consistent with I don't drive ever. Driver club stays in the bag. It's all 3-wood.
Really?
But I can hit my 3-wood, 240 to 300.
Dang.
If I get a hold of it, so I can hit the 3-wood pretty good. So, and I was
Yeah.
hitting it pretty good on Monday. I love playing golf, though. I mean, any
Okay.
excuse to get outside. It's you out there with your buddies, maybe have a couple cold ones, and you get older in life, and you can't quite do the old sports that you used to do. So it's nice to be able to get that competitive edge still.
Okay, so one last thing on your golf game. If you can hit a 3-wood, 240, upwards of 300, what's the deal with not using a driver?
I haven't used my driver probably in 3 years. I have one. It's a fairly nice one, but it just sprays. It's just not
Okay.
straight. The 3-wood I can control pretty well some days, I guess.
What?
But when it's on, I'm still hitting it just as far, and it's a lot more reliable.
Okay, very nice. You are definitely a better golfer than I. I enjoy it, but yeah, I always tell people, look, you want to go golfing with me, you got to know a couple things. Number one, I will slow you down. Even in a cart, you will get frustrated with me. And number two, if you really want to be competitive in a foursome I'm in with you in a charity golf tournament, don't put me in your foursome, because I will bring the foursome down.
Yeah, I was the ringer of the group, which is also probably not where you want to be. If I'm like your third best golfer, it's not a bad spot.
Okay, good enough. So glad to have you back, and I know you've been back all week, but glad to be back with you. And we've got some things to talk about. Broncos and Bengals. RamosLaw.com text line wide open for you guys, 303-713-1043. And it's been a week, Dante, where there's been much consternation, much discussion, much debate on who are the real Broncos. We're going to get into that, but part of the answer to that question lies in what we think we've seen from Bo Nix to this point, and also what we think we've seen from Sean Payton. Been a lot of focus on that. So I want to dive into that a little bit, because I think, and we've talked about this, it is very easy when players don't play well to blame the coach. And it's also easy when things aren't going right to say the coach isn't doing the things to prepare the team. Where do you come down specifically on the Broncos offense? And I want to hear from you guys too on the RamosLaw.com text line. Some of this is just going to depend on what you thought of Bo Nix initially, because he hasn't established himself as the guy yet. We think, many think, I think that he will be doing that over the next year or so, but it hasn't happened. There's that is still TBD, and a lot of it's going to come down on do you like Sean Payton to begin with, and do you think he's the right coach for the Broncos? So try to filter through whatever bias you have, and let's just focus, Dante, on these 3 games. There is context based on Sean's career, based on what we saw from Bo last year. How would you look at both of those guys through the first 3 weeks?
I think for Sean Payton, it's a lot easier for me. I mean, he has a great football culture and that he's created here in Denver. So I really applaud him for that. And there's a seriousness that the Broncos are taking, around the league now. The league is, on the Broncos are on the league's radar at this point. So I think that's definitely a plus on the Sean Payton side. But yeah, there's been some undiscipline. To this team so far this season. A lot of penalties, a lot of untimely penalties, creating first downs for other teams. Obviously the field goal in week 2 to the Colts. So too many penalties, which, I would put that on Sean Payton. And I know it's the players that go out there, but to me, that's Sean Payton. It speaks to the culture and what he's allowing them to do out there. I think it needs to be a little tougher, making sure, even Pat Surtain's racked up a couple penalties. Riley Moss has some penalties, so Hufanga has a couple. So just too many penalties for my liking, which I would put on Sean Payton. Bo Nix has not been good. He did not pick up where he left off. He looks more like, the first 4 weeks of last season, Bo Nix, a version of himself. To me, it's pretty easy to point to he's been the weak link of this offense. The offense, the running game has been great with Dobbins. Troy Franklin's really emerged as a wide receiver 2 option. He didn't have a great game out in Los Angeles, but still a strong season to this point, and more than we'd expected. I think that's fair to say. I think Cortland Sutton's still, doing his thing out there. So to me, Bo Nix needs to step it up, needs to complete, and it's not far off, but it's enough off that it's costing them games. On those deep balls and some of those short completions even. He's not really taking that intermediate shot and throws, which can make it easy for the opposing defense to guard this Broncos offense. So I think Bo needs to step it up, and I think Sean needs to step it up, but not quite as much. I'm still impressed with what Sean's been able to build here in Denver.
Yeah, I'm generally on board with that as well. I look at Sean Payton, and one thing I commonly hear on post-game shows is they've got to run the ball more. And I guess I want to drill down a little bit on that, Dante, and kind of get some thoughts on what people expect on that. So the Broncos are averaging, this is including 19 rushing attempts by Bo Nix. The Broncos are averaging 25 carries per game through the first 3 games. The running backs are at about 19 of those carries per game. Bo's at 19 total carries running the ball. So on the one hand, it sort of depends on what one's definition is of a rushing attack and what counts in air quotes. Because if a quarterback rushes the ball because a pass play breaks down, that's a design pass, but it's the net effect is a rushing attempt. I guess my point is this. I wouldn't want to take Bo's rushing attempts out of the equation because that's a part of his game. That's a part of what he can do effectively and something as an asset that he can bring to the offense. So I look at the rushing attack and I go, I mean, they're averaging 5.2 yards per carry. They're averaging 129 yards per game. That's 8th in the NFL. Now, they couldn't do anything in the first half against the Chargers. They looked pedestrian at best against a bad Tennessee team at home to start the year. I guess I look at the whole criticism of how much Sean runs the ball, Dante, and to me, as far as criticisms go, that's down on the list. It's not in the upper echelon of what I would like to see the Broncos be trying offensively.
Wait, so that means you're okay with the amount?
With it.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I understood
that right. In other words,
right.
If you're going to criticize the amount of time Sean is trying to run the ball, I would not put that high on the list of issues.
I would agree with that. I think the run game's been solid this year. I think it's been much improved from last year. We don't have any of the running back from last year back, basically, with Jaleel McLaughlin being, a healthy scratch in most of these games, if not all of them. So I've been impressed with Dobbins. I think Harvey has some room to grow, but he's a rookie. He's only 3 games in, so I expect that to progress as the season goes on here. But I've been impressed with the run game. I don't have many complaints with Dobbins or Sean Payton's run calling in general.
No, I mean, in general, I'd like to see R.J. Harvey get going a little bit more, but if Dobbins is going to be this effective, hey, I'm okay with that too. Harvey's a rookie. I think it is going to take him a little bit of time to settle in. And the thought that he's going to come out of the gate and blow the doors off, I mean, there was a reason they signed J.K. Dobbins. And I think this is the reason. They felt they needed a veteran presence who's been productive when he's been healthy in his career. On the RamosLaw.com text line, Robin Wheatridge with an interesting thought. Dante, what do you think of this? I think Bo is trying to be what Sean wants. I think Sean needs to let Bo be Bo. What were Sean is Sean playing quarterback through Bo's eyes? So in other words, is Sean calling the game based on what he wants out of Bo as opposed to what Bo's skill set might be dictating should be better? I come out of the Chargers game. Here's where I come down on Rob's thought. I come out of the Chargers game, and again, my bias is usually to put more of the onus on the players to execute. Yes, there is something to be said for coaches putting players in good positions. No doubt about that. But I come out of that, Dante, and I just go, Bo missed 3 huge plays. And again, it's a young quarterback. It doesn't make me down on what I think Bo can be, but it does make me say in the context of that game, those were huge misses, and those plays were there to be made. And to me, Sean's primary job is giving Bo the opportunity to make plays, and I think he did in that Chargers game by and large.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't necessarily agree with the text. I think Sean has been putting Bo in enough successful situations. I think Bo's just missing on some of these throws. I think Bo's checking down a little too much for my liking as well, which I get that Sean has probably instilled in him, like, hey, we can't take sacks, we can't get behind the chains. But that doesn't mean you can't, again, take those intermediate throws, those 10 to 20-yard throws down the field, and it just doesn't feel like Bo's taking enough advantage of those kinds of throws. It feels like it's a lot of boom or bust kind of plays where he's throwing it 50 yards down the field or he's throwing it 2 yards down the field. So I don't put much of that on Sean Payton. And, the screen passes are design screen passes, so I don't put that on Bo either. So it's more just when he's looking downfield and it's not necessarily what he's looking for, I guess, in that throw. He's just checking down a little too quickly for my liking to, maybe go through some of more of your progressions or try to run the ball a little bit more, Bo. I know we didn't really see that in that first week against the Titans, but your athleticism is a legit skill for you. I mean, it's not one of those where it doesn't have to be a crutch. It can be a weapon for this team. We see quarterbacks all around the league that use their legs to their advantage. It doesn't even have to be the Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray type. It can be the Mahomes. Mahomes, scrambles for, yards all the time and really important parts of the game. And I just don't think Bo is as eager to run this year as what we saw last year.
Mike Rice, Dante Gomez with you on Denver Sports Tonight. RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. Talking Broncos. I mentioned this after the Tennessee game on the Fan Football Postgame Show. And at the time, I was a little bit hesitant because I've never played quarterback. Never played football at a high level, okay? So I make that preface because those are the eyes through which I make observations. That's the lens that I have, and I just want to be true to that. And I don't want to try and pretend to be an expert that I'm not. At the same time, when you watch Bo Nix this year, do you see, like I do, a guy who just looks to be playing at a hurried pace, doesn't look settled, doesn't look like he's comfortable yet this year? That's what I see.
No, that's what I see as well. I also just don't see a very rhythmic offense. It feels very clunky. It feels there's just no like continuity almost between, play to play, drive to drive. We've seen a lot of 3 and outs this year, probably more than we saw last year even as a rookie for Bo. So it just doesn't feel like he's really settled into the 2025 season. But I think that goes along with what you're saying there.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there, and I think a lot of people are. In fact, I think there's some word around the league. There's been reporting on that this week. So when we look to the Bengals and a football team that's playing backup quarterback Jake Browning, a defense that was not very good to begin with, what is the one thing, the top of your list, Dante? The Broncos must do what in order to beat the Bengals? We know there's several things. It's always turnover battle. There's a lot of things. And certainly when you look at how the Broncos have played through the first 3 weeks, there's probably a longer list because there have been a list of inconsistencies that we've seen in every phase from the Broncos at various times. But what tops the list for you on what the Broncos must do to win this game?
I'd like to see Bo Nix's completion percentage go up.
Okay.
I think that's one of his calling cards coming out of the draft was the accuracy with him throwing the ball. And, last week, 14 of 25. Just not good enough for me. I think you got to be better than that. In week 2, we saw it. It was better, 22 of 30. So it hasn't been all bad this year. But even in week 1 as well, 25 of 40, just not good enough of a completion percentage. And I think that has to do with why you're seeing so many 3 and outs, why you're not seeing these sustained drives. And I get the Broncos defense is probably going to eat, and that's probably the more important side of the ball in terms of them winning. But the more important side of the Broncos in terms of long-term season success, you got to get Bo going. And I think that starts with him completing more passes than what we've seen.
On the RamosLaw.com text line, I think Javon in Aurora is thinking along the lines you are. He says, Bo needs to remember to have fun out there. He's playing tight. He might be. I mean, it's always hard. Again, unless a guy comes out and says that, I always hesitate to say he is playing tight, but I understand Javon's point, and there's a part of me that agrees. He looks like he's playing tight. He looks like he's unsettled, whether it's being tight, whether it's not being comfortable, whether it's defenses giving him different looks early in this year. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of everything. But you think getting Bo going is the top of the list that you want to see coming out of the Bengals game, aside from a win, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and win, W in the win column is the most important thing. I just have a lot of faith in this defense being able to be dominant over Jake Browning and a backup quarterback there, and the Bengals' run game, which has struggled this year as well. Bo throwing the ball better, more accurate, completing some of those downfield passes would be a lot more impressive to me and give me a lot more faith as they go into Philadelphia the following week.
Here, I'm going to get a little bit more granular because I agree with you that getting this offense into a rhythm, into consistent production is huge. We have to see some progress. I have to see some progress this week. But even more specifically within that, I want to see the Broncos better on third down. This is a miserable football team on third down right now. They're converting at 32.5%. 2 out of 13 against the Chargers, 12 out of 37 this year. Dante, that is not good enough. It's not nearly good enough. I want to see that. Now, hopefully, against this Bengals defense, there won't be as many third down opportunities. But when there are, stay on the field. Stay on the field.
No, I think that's a great point, and I think what I'm saying kind of goes hand in hand with you're saying. If Bo's completing some of these more passes or some more of these passes on first and second and down, it makes third down so much more manageable. Sure. I know Zach on the drive had a great stat about the Broncos and how poor their success rate is on first and second down, and I think that leads to the poor third down conversion rate that we're seeing too, which was your point you were making there. So I think first and second down have to be better in order for that third down conversion rate to be better. So I think everything we're saying is kind of, one hand washing the other.
There are a couple of ways. I mean, there are a lot of ways that the Bengals are vulnerable. And this points to other aspects that I want to see the Broncos take advantage of. The bottom line is always a win. We know that. We talk about it every show, basically. But how they win is important and is worth discussing, especially since how they've played in the fourth quarter of these last two games has been completely pertinent to the outcome of the game. But if you look at this Bengals defense, there are a couple of alarming numbers that the Broncos to this point have not been very good in. Number one, the Bengals give up 119 yards per game on the ground. Now, we talked about the Broncos' rushing attack being pretty good, and so I'd like to see them continue to take advantage of that. But another one, and again, it's a stat that's very easy to slice and dice to fit whatever narrative you want to push about how a team is playing. But generally speaking, given the third down struggles, given the way the Broncos have been inconsistent on offense, the Bengals defense is on the field, on average, 33 minutes and 18 seconds per game. This defense, Dante, lends itself to the Broncos offense being able to do exactly what you just talked about, which is getting some things together, not just in third down conversion, but as you said, some of the earlier downs, so you're not faced with those 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12. They have to do that this week.
Yeah, I think time of possession needs to go up. Again, we saw too many 3-and-outs last week. We saw too many drives that just, again, weren't clicking. I don't really know how else to describe it other than just to the eye test. They weren't working. So I think the Bengals is a great opportunity for the Broncos to get back on track with that. Because we've seen Bo Nix, he can complete a lot of these short passes.
He can.
We saw it all throughout college. We saw it a good amount last year as well. And we just haven't really been seeing that as much this year. And I think, the Bengals game is a great opportunity to show that the Broncos still have that aspect of their game.
Here's another factor that, and again, it stays on the offense. I thought you put it really well, Dante, when you said you have confidence in the Broncos defense being able to have a pretty good game against Jake Browning. Let's just face it. They need to. I mean, this is not, even with the star power wide receiver, they have zero running game. They're worst in the NFL at 49 yards per. The offensive line is porous at best, and that's why Jake Browning is playing. So the Broncos defense, I have full confidence at home is going to put up a game. I really do. But when you look at the Broncos personnel and you are talking about the short passes, the screens, whether it be to the back or the wide receiver, how about just a screen, pass the outside for Evan Ingram? Get him some touches. Get him involved. I don't care if it's, just a little sit down in the middle of the field, 5 yards downfield. Make it a point to get him involved early in that game. They have to start using the tight end that they believe in and that they went and signed for big money to produce. And I know he's been hurt, but now that he's back, I want to see the Broncos make it a point to just intentionally, Bo Ingram connection, 7 yards, next play.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, he was out last week, which hurts the Broncos offense, obviously. And when I mentioned earlier in the show that Bo Nix, to me, has been the weak link of this offense, I think hand in hand with that as the second, weakest link is Evan Ingram's health. Him just not being available out there for Bo, I think, is a big detriment for Bo being able to complete some of these passes. And the rest of the Broncos tight end room just isn't that good, and you really need to have Evan Ingram out there. And since he is healthy and he's supposed to be a full go here, I'm right with you. You need to take advantage of a game when he is out there.
Yeah, and Javon also weighed in on the RamosLaw.com text line. He said use Mims more as a joker. I'd like to see Ingram in that role because I want to see the Broncos establish him. And for the 0982, I want to see them use Ingram against the Bengals on Monday night.
Yeah, what's up with that? Are we not saying the word right?
Have I said Bengals?
I think I might have said Bengals. Is Bengals not the word?
Bengals?
I'll just go with Cincinnati from here on out.
Yeah, I guess I will. From the 0982, Tennessee is correcting our pronunciation and enunciation. Tip of the cap. Maybe it's a Cincinnati fan that's feeling a little sensitive. But I do appreciate the awareness. It's sort of like the Jaguars. What? It's not Jaguars. There's no wire in Jaguars. So maybe he's hearing a similar type of thing. So I'm grateful. And see, that's what we get from the great folks on the RamosLaw.com text line. All right, who are the real Broncos? Are they the team we think they can be, or the team we've seen the last couple losses? We'll dive into that next.
How should the Broncos attack the Bengals on offense?
Let's look good as a team collectively, and let's give J.K. Dobbins 22 carries. Let's give R.J. Harvey 10 carries and see what this number can look like rushing the football because of who the opponent is and what J.K. has shown. You give that dude the ball 20 times, you give R.J. a chance to rush it 10 times, I think this Broncos team could put 200-plus yards on the Bengals' heads.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Winning matters. Postman Law has recovered over $3 billion for clients. Injured? Call 844-POSTMAN. It's free to see if you have a case. Others promise. Postman delivers.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're over 50, it's likely you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Looking to sell your used Rolex watch? We buy and sell pre-owned Rolex watches, all styles from old to new. Hi, I'm Scott Matthew with Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry. Bring in your Rolex watch and we will buy it on the spot. Matthews, located in Highlands Ranch, serving Colorado since 1951.
Whether it's kickoff, halftime, or the final drive, fuel your football season at Dickey's Barbecue Pits. Order the 2 Can Dine for a $29.99 deal. 2 meat plates stacked with pit smoke flavor. Or go for the new Triple Play Combo. A classic sandwich, savory side, and a big yellow cup for just $12.99. No matter who you're rooting for, great barbecue is always a win. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, legit. Texas barbecue.
Brandon Stokel here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Do you need a new furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump? ROX Rocks Heating and Air makes it incredibly easy with their new, free, no obligation online heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair, ROX, rocks, heating and air.
Attention taxpayers. If you owe $5,000 or more and have missed another tax deadline, you're officially on the IRS's radar. The IRS has resumed aggressive collections. That means wage garnishments, bank levies, even seizures of your home, car, or retirement accounts. If you owe $5,000 or more and missed the deadline, you're stacking new debt on top of what you already owe. Call Priority Tax Relief now. Their experts fight back fast and are saving their clients millions in tax debt every month.
I owed over $50,000. And they settled it for pennies on the dollar. These guys are as legit as they come.
After speaking on my behalf with the IRS, my entire debt of $25,000 will be eliminated.
Whether you've received collection letters or you're already facing liens and garnishments, call for your free consultation. There are no upfront fees. Priority Tax Relief. Let's make your taxes our priority. Call 800-968-3159. 800-968-3159. 800-968-3159.
Priority Tax Relief.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante with you on a Friday night. Bud Light Football Friday. As we rally into the weekend. We have an extra day, Dante. We get to wait all the way till Monday night. I just, as we think about who the Broncos are. Okay, my preface on this is the sample size isn't big enough. Ultimately, I don't know. So I'll spoil it right there. But are there signs that they can be the team that I think they were going to be? I mean, when you look at last year, when we really had no idea what Bo Nix might bring, he got better. And I think about what I was thinking about Bo, Dante, after 2 weeks last year, and I thought, ooh, I mean, did they whiff on this kid? And clearly, we found out that they didn't whiff, that there's some real ability there. How much? We don't know. And now, when we think about the Broncos taking another step into, I thought it would be 11 wins, a playoff spot once again, being more competitive in the playoffs. I think that's all possible. But at the same time, I'm not going to deny what I've seen, especially in the fourth quarter, the last two games. They've got a lot of things to shore up, even when you look just beyond the fourth quarter. How much solace do you take? How much consolation do you take, Dante, knowing that with all of the things on the Broncos' to-do list, they still lost the last two games by a field goal on the final play? Is that just media talk? Is that a fan saying, I've got to find something positive? Or is there some real truth to that and real substance there?
I mean, I think there has to be a lot of truth to it. The Broncos are 2 plays away from being 3-0 this year. They really are.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that as they're sitting there 1-2, but they're, inches away, and, a non-call against Indy, and like I said, inches away in that the Chargers game as well, from being 3-0 this season. And yeah, they haven't played as well as we would have liked, but it's not too far off. It's really not. And I know there is no moral victories in, professional sports when you're playing at that level of football, but they really are that close. And it hasn't been murderer's row in terms of the teams they've played. I know the Colts are 3-0 and the Chargers are 3-0, but I really think the Broncos could have and should have won both of those games.
So to amplify your point, again, based on evidence, not just I think or I hope, the Broncos are that close despite having under 28 minutes per game of possession time, despite being 32.5% on third down, despite having opponents accept 8 penalties on average per game and be flagged for more than that, despite passing for just 173 yards per game. I think you have to say when I look at who are the real Broncos, I think the real Broncos are a talented team that by and large are beating themselves more than opponents are beating them. I really do. Now, every game is a piece of the puzzle in terms of evaluating. If the Broncos come out and play cleaner, play up to their ability level, take advantage of Bengals' deficiencies, and put up a game that is not only a W, but an impressive W, again, that's going to lend credibility to what I think. If they come out and barely win, if they come out and completely stub their toe and lose, oh my goodness, I can't even bear the thought of that. Then maybe they really aren't the team that I think they are or could be. But I can't go that far yet based on how the games have played out the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I don't know if we should be, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt at this point in the season. You're only 3 games in, and the NFL's a sprint. You only get 17 of these things, 18 weeks, 17 games. So you can't throw away too many victories when you have them not in the bag, but a great opportunity to go out there and win like they did in weeks 2 and 3. So not a lot of wiggle room going forward in terms of losing a game that you should have won or could have won. But I'm going to keep my optimism open still, and I think they can prove a lot to me and, the rest of the league on Monday night if they go out and take care of the Bengals. So I'm gonna keep optimism open. I'm not ruling out them going into Philadelphia and winning in Week 5. I think that's very much on the table for this team. And Philadelphia hasn't looked great, but they're still the defending champion, and they're 3-0, and they're finding a way to win. That's a very tough football team in Philly, so I'm not ruling that out. I think we need to see them be, call it 8-3 at some point, 7-3 at some point this season. So they got to get the wheels turning now, but it's not too late for this team. It's still very early in the season.
Yeah, I completely and wholeheartedly endorse that. I'm putting you on the spot. We did not discuss this beforehand. Always like to play a little bit of over-under. Bo passes for 259.5 yards. Are you over that or under that?
I'm going to go under because I think the run game is going to do that well. So I think the offense will still score 27-plus points. I just don't think it's going to be all on Bo to get the job done. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a big game. I think R.J. Harvey's going to have a big game.
I do want to pause on the over-under for a second because I want to get to this text on the RamosLaw.com text line from Mr. Bacon of Westy. Why does the Denver media always make excuses for this team? Bad teams make bad mistakes. You guys need to look at the lack of discipline from the coaching staff. Call a duck a duck. Well, first off, I appreciate the fact that you lump us into the Denver media. I can't speak for anybody else, and I won't speak for anybody else. But I have called a duck a duck. The Broncos have not played well, and the stats we referenced speak to a team that has been inconsistent at best. On the other hand, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the Chargers blew out the Broncos. So that's why, if you want to call that making an excuse, we're 3 games into a season.
They haven't trailed in the fourth quarter yet.
So I guess we just look at it differently. I can accept that. If that's an excuse, yes, I'm not going to declare a verdict 3 games into a season when the Broncos have lost on the last play in 2 of those games. Should they have lost on the last play? Absolutely not. Were there multiple breakdowns that speak to multiple people? Everybody's been at fault. Sean has talked about how he's been at fault for either play calls or discipline or what have you. I have no problem calling out the way the Broncos have played. And if you've listened to the post-game show, the 2 out of the 3 weeks, because I was on for 2 of those, I've done that. At the same time, I always look at this through 2 sets of lenses. One is the immediate. How are they playing? How have they played? How did they play in a particular game? Versus trying to determine who this team is. I don't have any kind of idea on that yet. I never try to make any long-term judgments before the end of the 4th game. And even then it's risky because the Broncos didn't catch their stride, which is not uncommon for a Sean Payton team, until the middle part of the year last year. This is a dual scenario. a body of work, which I haven't seen enough of yet, versus how does each game go? And when I look at how each game has gone, despite the many mistakes, despite the inconsistent play, they've had realistic chances to win all three.
Yeah, I think it's way too early to call this team a bad team. I'm not trying to talk myself into the Broncos. I'm not doing anything like that. They lost to 2 3-0 teams. They've never trailed in the fourth quarter of the season, which is very difficult to do when you've lost 2 games so far. All that being said, this is not a bad football team. It's yet to be seen that they're a bad football team. If they go out and lose to Cincinnati, I might have a different tune here. But so far, I'm not ready to call this team a bad football team. I think there's a lot of football ahead of them. I mean, the Ravens are 1-2. Are they a bad football team? The Chiefs are 1-2. Are they a bad football team? I think it's still too early on all of this. So they don't look dead. They're not the Saints. The Saints are 0-3, and they are going to probably struggle to win a single game this season. That's a totally different category of a football team in the NFL right now. I think the Broncos are still alive. And more than alive. I think there are a few plays, a few minor fixes here from being a very good team and being 3-0 at this point.
Yeah, on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 9222, despite the mistakes, 2 last-second losses to 2 teams that are combined 6-0. Here's where I would also take this. The Colts are 3-0, and they've looked pretty good. Are they that team yet? They have looked very good. Am I crowning them anything at this point? No, I'm giving them credit for having played well, knowing that just like we were talking about the Broncos last year and their softer schedule because of where they finished, Danny Dimes has looked great. Am I ready to say he's turned the corner? He's arrived? No. But is there some mounting evidence that points to that being a realistic possibility? Absolutely. So it is dual for me, especially through that first half of the season. And despite what some coaches in the area claim about identity, I think it's a real thing, and I think that football teams take some time into shaping their identity. The Broncos' identity has not been good through 3 games. They have been mistake-prone, they have been inconsistent, and they have not been productive enough on either side of the ball. Is that who they are for the whole season? I don't know that yet.
Well, and I want to add on to that as well. The Chargers, 3-0. They're kind of everybody's darling so far. Justin Herbert's in MVP talks at this point. The Chargers are running away with the division, everybody says. And you're telling me a fantastic team like that, quote unquote, everyone's calling them fantastic Super Bowl contenders. You're telling me the gap between a Super Bowl contender and what the texter is saying is a bad team is a last-second field goal? The gap seems too small for that. A last-second field goal does not separate a bad team and a Super Bowl contender. I still think the Broncos are a good team, and I think the way they've lost both games points to that, and the narrow margin of those games points to that.
Yeah, and this is life in the NFL for the most part. Narrow margins, the slimmest of margins, and just no wiggle room. You make the plays when you have them. There's a good chance you're going to win. And that's what makes the NFL so fun. Right now, not as fun for the Broncos because they have not made those plays when the chips are down, and they have to reverse that starting Monday night against Cincinnati. What about the Buffs? What about the Rams? A look into, could this be turning point kind of opportunities for those teams next on Denver Sports Tonight.
Will Bo Nix get back on track against the Bengals? Will Nick Benito shine bright again in primetime? Zach Bai and Philip Lindsay will break it all down in a special Monday night edition of the Fan Football Pregame Show. Live on game day from Mile High Station, presented by Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
The Fed has finally dropped interest rates, and that's great news for American homeowners. Wages are flat, prices keep climbing, and for many, the only way to make ends meet is to lean on credit cards. If you're a homeowner, I want you to call my friends at American Financing. Right now, interest rates have dropped. Many homeowners are seeing options in the low 5s. Compare that to credit cards charging charging rates in the 20s or higher. American Financing can help you pay off that expensive debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your budget under control. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may be able to delay your next mortgage payment. Call American Financing today at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5s start at 6.327% for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at amazonbusiness.com.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040. It's football season, and did you know that I am the reigning fan staff champion in the King Supers Football Pick'em? Yep, Stokely, Schlereth, Zachby, Cecil Lammy, none of them can hang with the judge when it comes to football. Just like those made-for-TV lawyers can't hang with me in the courtroom. When you've been hurt in a car accident, you want the real deal, which is what you get when you call 303 Law 4040. Not some made-for-TV character. When you call 303 Law 4040, you speak directly with me or my lovely wife, Kimberly, not some call center overseas. And you get to meet with us in person for free. We never take a dime unless we win for you. Plus, no ridiculous fees like those TV characters. You were the one that was hurt, so the doctors and the lawyers shouldn't take all the money. So go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303-LAW-4040, 303-LAW-4040.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 720-405-3300. That's 720-405-3300.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At Common Spirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at Common Spirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Mike Evans here for Copperhead Plumbing. Your home doesn't have to flood before you know there's a problem. With the Mow and Flow Smart Water Shutoff System, you can monitor your home's water usage in real time right from your phone. You'll get notified the moment a leak starts. Trust Copperhead Plumbing for professional installation. Ask about installing a Mow and Flow system today.
Copperhead Plumbing, built to last. Call us once, you'll forget the past.
Copperhead Plumbing. They plumb different. They plumb custom.
Tune into Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Wednesdays at 9:15 to hear ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky break down Bo Nix and the Broncos every week during football season. Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike Rice, Dante Gomez. On a Bud Light Football Friday, Broncos playing Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. Will be fun to see. Bengals. Did I say it right?
I still don't know.
Yeah. We're just having fun with it. Want to get the Bengals pronunciation right. The CU Buffs start a gauntlet, a 4-week gauntlet, Dante, at home against number 25 BYU tomorrow night. Saturday, October 4th at number 24 TCU. Saturday, October 11th against number 14 Iowa State in Boulder. And then after a bye on the 18th, the Buffs will be at Utah on October 25th. Difficult stretch. I'd like to say I'm as confident as our guy Phil Lindsay. I'm not quite all the way there.
I don't know if it's confidence or delusion for Phil.
Yeah, well, hey, it's tough to get past the alma mater thing. I have no problem saying my Cal Bears put up an absolute stinker against San Diego State last week. 34-0. Are you serious? That's embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, Mike.
It was just dreadful.
And San Diego State's not particularly good this year either.
That's exactly why I'm not afraid to call a duck or an egg an egg. Let's get into the CU BYU situation for a moment. How do you see this one going down? Who do you see winning?
I think we're going to get a lot of points in this game. I'm expecting, let's call it over 50 points, maybe like a 31 to not 50 points total is what I'm saying.
Between the two teams.
Yes, between the two teams. Maybe like a 31-28 kind of game. I'm expecting a lot of points out there. I think Caden Salter adds a different dimension to this offense, especially the way we saw him run last week. We saw those chunk plays from CU. I think they're going to be able to score a little bit. It's going to come down to that defense being able to get off the field. We didn't see it against Houston, where that defense was just stuck out there, and Houston had long drive after long drive. Their time of possession was through the roof. It almost felt longer than the actual time of possession time you saw at the end of the game. So to me, it's that defense being able to get off the field and not allow BYU to have these long, sustaining drives.
So are you picking the Buffs to be on the plus side? Oh, the pregnant pause. You are really waffling here.
I think they're going to be close. I think they lose 31-28.
Dante.
You
were building it up like Salter, this, defense. It's one stop. And then you pick the Cougars.
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a one possession late in the game, and it's going to come down to if there's, a little Folsom magic on CU's side or not. But I think that's a great start compared to what we saw against Houston in Big 12 play. You can't afford to go out and get embarrassed like that again. You got to keep it tight. Obviously, a win would be much better, but to me, even keeping it close is kind of a win for this Buffs team.
I'm just gonna plead guilty to the homer factor, and because I want the Buffs to win, I'm going to pick them to win. In my heart of hearts, I think it's going to be a terrific game, and I think it's going to be very close. If I had to put money down, I'm not sure on the money line, just on who wins. I'm not sure I could put any kind of sizable amount on the Buffs. But since we're just talking, I think they find a way to get it done. I want them to find a way to get it done. On a serious note, though, here's what I like. Salter was more decisive against Wyoming, and I get that it was Wyoming. I understand that. Wyoming's defense is not completely horrendous.
They looked pretty good against Utah the week before.
Exactly. And I love the fact that he was decisive, and he has that dual threat ability, which we all know. Want to get quickly in our final moments to the CSU Rams. Jackson Brousseau, the youngster, going to get the start against Washington State. I don't know who the Cougars are. I mean, they've got boat raced at North Texas and against Washington the last couple of weeks. Is that the team, or is it the team that started 2-0? Look, this is an opportunity for CSU to kind of turn the corner and establish themselves. They've had nothing resembling any kind of consistency. In fact, they've been bad. They should be 0-3. I'd like to hope that Brousseau can be a difference against the Cougars.
I think it's going to be a great game. I have watched a lot of Washington State football. I became friends with their defensive coordinator, actually. We were on a bachelor party together last summer. He was the old DC at South Dakota State, moved over with the head coach to Washington State. So I've had a quasi connection and been watching them. They did not look good against North Texas.
No.
I know the score wasn't great against Washington. They're punching out of their weight class in that game, and they hung around pretty well, actually. So I think we're going to get a great effort out of them. I've seen some press conferences from the head coach. He was complaining a little bit after that Washington game in terms of just punching out of his weight class, but then he came back and apologized for those comments. So I think we're going to get a very focused version of Washington State in this game. And I think I'm going to go Washington State wins a nail biter.
I'm going double homer. Give me the Rams. Give me the Rams. Dante, if I pull the double on you, that might be worth a milkshake or something.
I will bring you in something. Well, I guess you get here after me on Monday, so I don't know how that'll work. We can figure it out.
Text me Monday afternoon. Whatever it is, it'll be something like a coffee or a milkshake or whatever. If either of us pull the double.
Okay, deal.
Hey, a lot of fun. Have a good weekend,
Mike. What a great college sports or college football weekend.
Yeah.
Sports in general. MLB's wrapping up. We got the Ryder Cup. It's a great time to be a sports fan.
I agree. Enjoy it all. Thanks you guys for listening, for weighing in on the RamosLaw.com text line. Enjoy the weekend. We will talk with you Monday night on the Fan Football postgame show after the Broncos and Bengals go at it. This is Denver Sports Tonight.
Will Vance Joseph's defense take advantage of a backup quarterback? Will Sean Payton find a rhythm on offense? We'll break it all down in the Fan Football postgame show, live on game day starting at the 2-minute warning. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Stokely here from my friends at 5280 Waste Solutions of Denver. Unhappy with your home or business trash and recycling service? Need a temporary dumpster for a project? Call 5280 Waste Solutions at 303-529-2329. Colorado isn't just where they work, it's home. They guarantee swift, on-time pickup for residential and commercial customers. Make the switch and get reliable local service you can count on. Go to 5280waste.com. 5280 Waste Solutions, your hometown brand.
Heads up, pros. Now's your chance to unlock deeper savings. The Home Depot's new Pro Extra Preferred pricing can help you save thousands on the products your business uses the most. But the current benefit ends November 15th. Don't miss out. Registration for the new Pro